On this seventh and last day of retreat, how quiet it is. We will not have a talk as usual, but read several authors, some of them spiritual teachers of the past and present, and some poets of the past and present. I usually forget about these readings until the last talk is upon me, almost upon me. So there's never too much new stuff in there. Although here and there you may find a new poem, maybe a new selection. Nobody has ever complained about monotony in these readings. The first selections will be from Huang Po, the teaching, Zen teaching of Huang Po, translated by John Blofeld. Some of these passages are taken out of the context of the whole talk. Some words have been eliminated. This is not a presentation of Huang Po, but new words to illuminate what we've been talking about. The recorder of these talks is the scholar and disciple of Huang Po, Pe Su, who was also the governor of the province where Huang Po taught about 1,000 years ago in China. The master said to me, "All the Buddhas and all sentient beings are nothing but the one mind beside which nothing exists. This mind, which is without beginning, is unborn and indestructible. It is not green nor yellow and has neither form nor appearance. It does not belong to the categories of things which exist or do not exist, nor can it be thought of in terms of young or old. It is neither long nor short, big nor small, for it transcends all limits, measures, names, traces, and comparisons. It is that which you see before you. Begin to reason about it, and you at once fall into error. It is like the boundless void, which cannot be fathomed or measured. The one mind alone is the Buddha, and there is no distinction between the Buddha and sentient beings, but that sentient beings are attached to forms, and so seek externally for Buddhahood. By their very seeking, they lose it, for that is using mind to grasp mind. Though they do their utmost for a full eon, they will not be able to attain to it. People do not know that if they put a stop to conceptual thought and forget their anxiety, the Buddha will appear before them. For this mind is the Buddha, and Buddha is all living beings. It is not the less for being manifested in ordinary beings, nor is it greater for being manifested in the Buddhas. Our original nature is in its highest truth devoid of any atom of objectivity. It is void, omnipresent, silent, pure. It is glorious and mysterious, peacefully joy. And that is all. Enter deeply into it by awakening to it yourself. That which is before you is it in all its fullness, utterly complete. There's naught beside it. Even if you go through all the stages of progress toward Buddhahood, one by one, when at last in a single flash you attain realization, you will only be realizing the nature which has been with you all the time. And by all the foregoing stages, you will have added nothing to it at all. You will come to look upon those eons of work and achievement as no better than unreal actions performed in a dream. Once I put this question to the Master: how many of the 400 or 500 persons gathered here on this mountain have fully understood your Reverence's teaching? The Master answered, their number cannot be known. Why? Because this way is through mind awakening. How can it be conveyed in words? Speech only produces some effect when it falls on the uninstructed ears of children. When a sudden flash of thought occurs in your mind and you see it for a dream or an illusion, then you can enter into the state reached by the Buddhas of the past. Not that the Buddhas of the past really exist, or that the Buddhas of the future have not yet come into existence. Above all, have no longing to become a future Buddha. Your sole concern should be, as thought succeeds thought, to avoid clinging to any of them. Your true nature is something never lost to you even in moments of delusion, nor is it gained at the moment of enlightenment. It depends on nothing and is attached to nothing. It is all-pervading, spotless beauty. It is the self-existent and uncreated absolute. Absolute meaning literally not dependent. Ah, it is a jewel beyond all price. Here's a selection of passages called The Meditative Mind, compiled by the Krishnamurti Foundation of America. This selection is from The Flame of Attention. It is immensely important to know and to understand the depth and beauty of meditation. Man has always been asking from timeless time whether there is something beyond all thought, beyond all romantic inventions, beyond all time. He's always been asking, is there something beyond all this suffering, beyond all this chaos, beyond wars, beyond the battle between human beings? Is there something that is immovable, sacred, utterly pure, untouched by any thought, by any experience? This has been the inquiry of serious people from the ancient of days. To find that out, to come upon it, meditation is necessary. Not the repetitive meditation that is utterly meaningless. There is a creative energy which is truly religious when the mind is free from all conflict, from all the travail of thought, to come upon that which has no beginning, no end. That is the real depth of meditation and the beauty of it. That requires freedom from conditioning. There is complete security in compassionate intelligence, total security. But we want security in ideas, in beliefs, in concepts, in ideals. We hold on to them. They are our security, however false, however irrational. When there is compassion with its supreme intelligence, there is security if one is seeking security. Actually, where there is compassion, where there is that intelligence, there is no question of security. So there is an origin, an original ground from which all things arise, and that original ground is not the word. The word is never the thing. And meditation is to come upon that ground which is the origin of all things and which is free from all time. A selection from I Am That by Nisargadatta, contemporary Indian sage who died close to the time Krishnamurti died, the early 80s. This is the second selection, entitled Obsession with the Body. Questioner: Maharaj, you are sitting in front of me, and I am here at your feet. What is the basic difference between us? Nisargadatta: there is no basic difference. Questioner: still there must be some real difference. I come to you, you do not come to me. Nisargadatta: because you imagine differences, you go here and there in search of superior people. Questioner: you too are a superior person. You claim to know the real while I do not. Nisargadatta: did I ever tell you that you do not know and therefore you are inferior? Let those who invented such distinctions prove them. I do not claim to know what you do not. In fact, I know much less than you do. Questioner: your words are wise, your behavior noble, your grace all-powerful. Nisargadatta: I know nothing about it all and see no difference between you and me. My life is a succession of events just like yours. Only I am detached and see the passing show as a passing show, while you stick to things and move along with them. Questioner: what made you so dispassionate? Nisargadatta: nothing in particular. It just so happened that I trusted my guru. He told me I am nothing but myself, and I believed him. Self in the Hindu teaching is the whole, not the ego. Whole thing. Manifesting here. Trusting him, I behaved accordingly and ceased caring for what was not me nor mine. Questioner: why were you so lucky to trust your teacher fully, while our trust is nominal and verbal? Nisargadatta: who can say? It happened so. Things happen without cause and reason, and after all, what does it matter who is who? Your high opinion of me is your opinion only. Any moment you may change it. Why attach importance to opinions, even your own? Questioner: still you are different. Your mind seems to be always quiet and happy, and miracles happen around you. Nisargadatta, I know nothing about miracles and wonder whether nature admits exceptions to her laws, unless we agree that everything is a miracle. As to my mind, there is no such thing. There is consciousness in which everything happens. It is quite obvious and within the experience of everybody. You just do not look carefully enough. Look well and see what I see. Questioner, what do you see? Nisargadatta, I see what you too could see here and now, but for the wrong focus of your attention. You give no attention to yourself. Your mind is all with things, with people and ideas, never with yourself. Bring yourself into focus. Become aware of your own existence. See how you function. Watch the motives and the results of your action. Study the prison you have built around yourself by inadvertence. By knowing what you are not, you come to know yourself. One thing is certain. The real is not imaginary. It is not a product of the mind. Once you are convinced that you cannot say truthfully about yourself anything except I am, and that nothing that can be pointed at can be yourself, you are no longer intent on verbalizing what you are. All you need is to get rid of the tendency to define yourself. All definitions apply to your body only and to its expressions. Once this obsession with a body goes, you will revert to your natural state spontaneously and effortlessly. The only difference between us is that I am aware of my natural state while you are bemused. Just like gold made into ornaments has no advantage over gold dust, except when the mind makes it so, so are we one in being. We differ only in appearance. We discover it by being earnest, by searching, inquiring, questioning daily and hourly, giving one's life to this discovery. Vimalataka, being and becoming. Vimala is a spiritual teacher who no longer travels around the world. She is in India. And this book gives some of the dialogues which took place at Dalhousie during the summer of 1989. We are talking about an alternative way of living, which is a meditative way of living. Acquire knowledge, let it flow through you, let it be utilized in its relevant field without creating a knower. If we look at the roots of all human misery, we will find that misery is built upon our stupidity. One could replace that word with stupefaction. We do not know how to relate to the social structures and use them without identification, without creating a sense of authority out of them. Structures are not sacred. It is only life that is sacred. Patterns have no sacredness, whether you create them in the name of religion, spirituality, or politics. It is the pattern-free, structure-free, virgin dynamism of life that is sacred, that is divine. Wherever you have touched it with thought, You have manipulated it. You have structured it. It has a utility, but not sanctity. It has a utility, but no authority. Knowledge itself has no power to bind you. It is the creation of the knower that is the obstacle. You have a beautiful, sensitive body, and the sensitivity gets in touch with its respective objects outside, and they bring sensations. Sensations are converted back to electric impulses, and the brain interprets them. It is a marvelous process, what we call experiencing. Contact with the outside world through the senses, which are very delicate, very tender. It is quite hard and arduous work to keep your sensual system pure, healthy, supple, elastic. Let the experiences flow through the sensual system. Nothing wrong in a sensual, sexual experience, but you create an experiencer and you get stuck in the experience and its likes and dislikes, its value structures, its preferences, prejudices, theories. If the sensual contact with objects is allowed to flow through you without creating the experiencer, then the limited human-made world cannot corrupt you. As the oneness of life manifesting into manyness does not get corrupted, does not lose its vitality, does not get mutilated. In the same way, you acquire knowledge and you appear as an individual playing the role of a father, a mother, a brother, a son. You are one appearing as many. There's no identification necessary with the fatherhood, sonness, daughterness, sisterness, and you don't tie so many knots inside, but play the roles sanely, completely, with the magnificence of an inner equipoise. Then your appearing as many, functioning as many, shall not corrupt you. That is the way of meditative living. The word meditation has been identified with psychophysical exercises, concentrations, methods, techniques, kundalini, shakti paths. The word has been abused and misused in a callous way. No authority and no effort. Freedom from authority and freedom from the struggle of efforts. Once you know that these human-made enclosures are only to be lived in, then the sense of comparing yourself with others, like he has a palace and I have a hut, he has millions, I only have thousands. The sense of comparison and the ambition and competition disappears completely. Your economic life becomes simple, no vanity, no pride about your scholarship, erudition. Your social life becomes simple. You do not move around with a begging bowl for sympathy, for acceptance, prestige, acknowledgement. Reconciled to the limitations, you live and move in it. Silence is inner, unconditional freedom from the authority of the past. Meditation has no repetition at all. It is moment to moment. In the moment of relating, you are living. In a moment of aloneness, you are dying. It is living and dying, like inhaling and exhaling. To be alone is to die to the sense of being somebody or being something. Is not that the content of death and dying? To be alone is to die to the sense of being somebody. Sinner, saint, holy, knowledgeable, respected, rich, poor. To be alone is to die to being something according to the definition of society, according to the value structure of religions. physically isolating yourself may not lead you to this aloneness. It may not. This is what we are afraid of, dying to the sense of being somebody, dying to all the images that you have built up about yourself as being alone. The way we are tackling the theme may be unusual, unheard of to many. It is a non-conventional way, a non-traditional approach. But I'm really grateful that life brings you and me together. Some poems from One Robe, One Bowl, Zen Poetry of Ryokan, translated by John Stevens. This is wonderful because every once in a while we can change the season. Last poems were still winter. This is spring. Well, they have a little snow here too every once in a while. This was written by Japanese monk hermit who was born 1758, lived in a hut in the mountains, and a lot of the time felt terribly lonely, longing for company. Carrying firewood on my shoulder, I walk in the green mountains along the bumpy path. I stop to rest under a tall pine. Sitting quietly, I listen to the spring songs of the birds. An evening dream. Everything must have been an illusion. I cannot explain clearly even one part of what I saw. And yet, in the dream it seemed as if the truth were in front of my eyes. This morning, awake, is it not the same dream? Spring. Late at night I go for a walk. A trace of snow lingers on the pines and cedars. The bright moon hangs over the mountains. I think of you, many rivers and mountains away. Countless thoughts, but the brush does not move. They say spring has come and the sky is filled with mist. Yet on the mountains, no flowers, only snow. Awakened by the cold, a light snow falls, the sound of wild geese. They also are returning home with hardship and suffering. Standing on a cliff among the pines and oaks, spring has come, clothed in mist. Early spring picking vegetables. A pheasant cries, old memories return. Everywhere you look, the mountains are covered with mist and blooming cherry trees. How can we ever lose interest in life? Spring has come again, and cherry trees bloom in the mountains. Spring has come, the trees are in bloom, last autumn's leaves have disappeared. I must hurry to meet the children. The children run to greet me for the first time this spring. How they have grown. Playing ball with the village children this warm, misty spring day. No one wants it to end. I came to this village to see the peach blossoms, but spent the day instead looking at the flowers along the riverbank. Hand in hand, the children and I pick spring vegetables. What can be more wonderful? Lying on my grass pillow, dreaming about this dream world again, lonely, fitful sleep. As I watch the children happily playing, without realizing it, my eyes fill with tears. Thinking about the people in this floating world far into the night, my sleeve is wet with tears. A thief has stolen my cushion and mat. Why did he break into my hermitage? The door is never locked. The night is ending, and I sit alone by the window. A sparse rain falls gently against the bamboo grove. The thief left it behind. The moon at the window. A friend sent me this poem by Wendell Berry. It's called The Peace of Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go to lie down where the wood drake nests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. A few selections by Mary Oliver, contemporary poet. This one is called Work. How beautiful this morning was Pasture Pond. It had lain in the dark all night, catching the rain on its broad back. All day I work with the linen of words and the pins of punctuation. All day I hang out over a desk, grinding my teeth, staring. Then I sleep. Then I come out of the house even before the sun is up and walk back through the pine woods to Pasture Pond. The book is called White Pine. These are these very, very lacy, long-needled pines. We have quite a few of them too. This is called the Pine Woods. This morning, 2 deer in the pine woods in the 5 a.m. mist, in a silky agitation, went leaping down into the shadows of the bog, and together across the bog and up the hill and into the dense trees. But once, years ago, in some kind of rapturous mistake, the deer did not run away, but walked toward me and touched my hands. And I have been ever since separated from my old comfortable life of experience and deduction. I have been ever since exalted. And even now, though I miss the world, I could not go back. I would not be anywhere else but stalled in the happiness of the miracle. Every morning I stroll out into the fields. I believe in everything. I believe in anything. Even if the deer are wild again, I am still standing under the dark trees. They are still walking toward me. That's the blessings of memory. This is from New and Selected Poems by Mary Oliver. Sunrise. You can die for it, an idea or the world. People have done so, brilliantly, letting their small bodies be bound to the stake, creating an unforgettable fury of light. But this morning, climbing the familiar hills in the familiar fabric of dawn, I thought of China and India and Europe, and I thought how the sun blazes for everyone just so joyfully as it rises under the lashes of my own eyes. And I thought, I am so many. What is my name? What is the name of the deep breath I would take over and over for all of us? Call it whatever you want. It is happiness. It is another one of the ways to enter fire. Hawk. This morning, the hawk rose up out of the meadow's brows and swung over the lake. It settled on the small black dome of a dead pine, alert as an admiral, its profile distinguished with sideburns the color of smoke. And I said, remember, this is not something of the red fire. This is heaven's fistful of death and destruction. And the hawk hooked one exquisite foot onto a last twig to look deeper into the yellow reeds along the edges of the water. And I said, remember the tree, the cave, the white lily of resurrection? And that's when it simply lifted its golden feet and floated into the wind belly first, and then it cruised along the lake. All the time, its eyes fastened harder than love on some unimportant rustling in the yellow reeds. and then it seemed to crouch high in the air, and then it turned into a white blade which fell. Singapore. In Singapore, in the airport, a darkness was ripped from my eyes. In the women's restroom, one compartment stood open. A woman knelt there, washing something in the white bowl. Disgust argued in my stomach, and I felt in my pocket for my ticket. A poem should always have birds in it. Kingfishers, say, with their bold eyes and gaudy wings. Rivers are pleasant, and of course, trees. A waterfall, or if that's not possible, a fountain rising and falling. A person wants to stand in a happy place in a poem. When the woman turned, I could not answer her face. Her beauty and her embarrassment struggled together, and neither could win. She smiled, and I smiled. What kind of nonsense is this? Everybody needs a job. Yes, a person wants to stand in a happy place in a poem. But first we must watch her as she stares down at her labor, which is dull enough. She is washing the tops of the airport ashtrays, as big as hubcaps, with a blue rag. Her small hands turn the metal, scrubbing and rinsing. She does not work slowly, nor quickly, but like a river. Her dark hair is like the wing of a bird. I don't doubt for a moment that she loves her life. And I want her to rise up from the crust and the slop and fly down to the river. This probably won't happen, but maybe it will. If the world were only pain and logic, who would want it? Of course it isn't. Neither do I mean anything miraculous, but only the light that can shine out of a life. I mean, the way she unfolded and refolded the blue cloth, the way her smile was only for my sake. I mean, the way this poem is filled with trees and birds. The sun. Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun every evening, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea and is gone? And how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world, like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils. Say, on a morning in early summer, at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there's anywhere in any language a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you as you stand there, empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have you too gone crazy for power, for things? We will end here for today.